solo.
What? All right, we should be good now. Thanks, Arcady. I don't know why that did that. Let me make sure. Is that going to be at both places? Yep. I don't know why. I just had to reconnect. Sometimes my new headset just doesn't connect. It just like disconnects for some reason, and I don't know. And I usually check, and I did not check today. Well, Arcady, to be fair, I have no sound. You should definitely have sound now. Let me know if you don't. All right. Very cool. Working now. Thank you so much. I appreciate the quick notification because I might have talked for about 10 minutes without ever noticing that. And honestly, after I talked 7 hours yesterday, I'm good. I'm good to save my voice a little bit. Yesterday was bananas. Space Empires RX is a long game. It's super cool. Maybe that was just a connection and I panic as I usually do. No. It was definitely not working. My streaming software was not connected to my headset. I don't know why, but I fixed it because I figured out how to fix these things quick. Finally. So one thing I will say, I want to try to get this zoomed in a little bit. I'm going to try to do this stuff on the fly. This is where I've gotten to with my mastery of this stuff. Oh, look. Oh, it's so great. Now you get more of my face. What could be better than that? Okay. Booyah. That's how the magic is made, kids. Love this game, says Flaminia. I'll get to that for sure. Yes. Yeah, I've grown to like this game a lot more than I did with my first playthrough, which you'll see. We actually have the fancy dancy little card cam now. That's going to be super exciting to try to use that. Arcady says, a gem of the game. I love the Arthurians. Dude, so much to talk about. I'm hoping Saget shows up because Saget was definitely the one that like kind of forced me to take another look at this game, and he recommended the Atlanteans for me, and it actually was a very nice recommendation because I've kind of learning. I mean, look, my favorite games, a lot of them were acquired taste. I mean, Arkham LCG was an acquired taste for me. Spirit Island was a bit of an acquired taste for me, and then all games, even if they're not acquired taste, like Maze Knight, I was like, I'm gonna love this game, but like there's still the arduous process of learning Maze Knight. I don't care who the heck you are, where it's like those first few games, you're like, oh my gosh, I spent 6 hours and I accomplished nothing, and I forgot 17,000 rules, 17,000, give or take a couple. So yeah, I might have cut off the intro coming in. I do want to give another shout out to Mark Malcolm GMS. He was the one who made those intros for me. I love them. I do love the fact that he decided to throw Twister in there as one of the games I play. It just definitely appeals to my sense of humor. It's crazy. I also want to give another big shout out to Big Viking Mats, who made this amazing neoprene mat that I play on, and I absolutely love it. It is such a nice addition to my table, and really has saved me so much heartache because I was getting more and more worried about what I was going to do because that speed cloth was showing its age. So if you watch my only video for Imperium Legends, you will know that I railed on this game for about, I don't know, 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, and my complaints still hold. I still think They made some of the worst decisions I've ever seen in the board game. The lack of any kind of scoring aid, these garbage player aids or how to use the AI being all thrown into the same rule book was such a really non-player friendly decision. Say that 10 times fast. I guess it's not that hard. I just can't speak well. Then you have like the insert, which is like such like an almost great but kind of terrible. So many weird things they did with this game that drive me bananas, and I still don't love how like I'm still playing this game and half the time I don't, am I winning, am I losing? I could win by 50 and be surprised. I could lose by 50 and be surprised because I don't know like what's happening. I'm doing cool things, but it's hard to see that risk to reward thing. If you're doing well in a game like Spirit Island or Mage Knight or even like a point scoring game like Gaia Project, you can generally see as you're going whether or not you're doing well or not. This game, it's like hard. I mean, it's a little bit removed, and I think that will come with experience. But I'm a lot of games into this game to still never really have an idea of how well I'm doing. Um, to the extent that I do. So that's that. But I'm playing an Overlord. I've done this challenge twice off camera, once weeks ago, once late last night. And I won both times, so that means I'm sure to get my butt kicked here today on camera because that's just the way these things go. But that will be super fun to do that for all you all to laugh at my misfortune. So let's go and get the setup. I am still gonna like make sure I go through the setup exactly right. So the Atlanteans are super interesting in that the Atlanteans do not have a power card. They don't go from barbarian to empire, so it makes them a little bit unique among the. I haven't played a ton of the factions in Imperium yet, but I understand that they are super unique because they just start as an empire, which means you can go to empire cards right away, which is super exciting. It also means you have no access to barbarian cards ever. So that does kind of change some things, but it means that the normal, hey, you're going through your what is they call it your nation deck, and then you have your power card, and then you become an empire, and that doesn't really happen. As now it's like, hey, you're an empire. What are you going to do? So you're really in the development phase right off the bat. And so what I mean by that is when you have to draw a card, instead of like adding from your nation deck to get toward empire status, you're immediately into what I was doing in the late game with the Mauryans, where you're basically going to spend resources to try to develop. So getting those resources is going to be super important to make that work. The last game I played, I had a few cards that were keeping me loaded with the bricks. I probably should know what the official titles are, but it's population and it's I mean, these tokens that I love so much because they're so helpful. Oh man, what are you called? So, seriously, this rulebook is such a load of garbage, man. I can't even. All right, Greg, be nice. Be nice. I mean, it shows me the symbol a million times and just doesn't give me the exact cost. So it's population. I'll just say resources and the victory points. I yeah, I whatever. We'll just say victory points. Great. So we are going to start with a certain amount of those, and then since we're playing on the Overlord settings, so will the AI. So anyway, so this is my power card, right? And power card has two sides. There's A and B. It's recommended you start on B side. If you're new to the game, I will start on the A side because, like that. Passive cards that would be placed into your history are instead discarded. You do not have a history as the Atlanteans. Remember, most nations you're putting cards under your power card, that's your history. You ain't doing that. You're actually just sinking some stuff. Exhaust, when a card is sunk, exhaust this card to put a card from your discard pile on top of your deck. So that's really important to remember that. Again, this is a sunk pile, not a history. So if you have something that says this would go in your history, instead it gets discarded. So it does mean some cards become a lot stronger, but it also means that late game is going to be really hard to thin your deck because cards like some of those strong cards are like, hey, do this and put this in your history. Well, now, guess what? It's just going right back in your discard pile. So you do want to constantly be sinking cards so you can kind of keep your deck nice and thin and give you more chances to develop. So I got to figure out how the heck I want to do this. I'll put the Empire card down there. It's like space is going to be a concern. Now I'll put this up there. There's a power card. And I just shifted this camera because that's going to happen a few times, and we'll make it happen. We'll make the best of it, people. So these cards that have no symbol in the bottom left corner, these are just going to be my starting hand. So I will shuffle these up. Some cool concepts in here. And then all these cards that have, and I'll put the draw pile here. I'll put the discard pile there. Yeah, it makes sense. And then all these cards that have this little cross down at the bottom, this is my development deck. They all have a development cost, and we'll put that up there. We'll start drawing those again as soon as my discard pile gets empty. Now we have to set up the AI. Oh, additionally, I'm going to take some stuff. What am I going to take? I think it's 3, 2, 1. Yep, I'm going to get 3 food or 3 resources, whatever. Again, I'll just put them right on my Empire cards. We're never flipping it anyway. I'll take 2 population, and I'm going to start with 1 of these victory points. Progress tokens? I think the progress token. I'll go with progress token. All right, so that's done over here. So now we have to set up the... nope, that's setting up the market. Let me set up the bot. Come on, common setup. Yeah, now you have to set up the bot. Well, I'll set the comments first. All right. So in a solo game, you're going to take the 8, what are they? Legend cards, fame cards. You're going to shuffle these up. You're going to take 2 of these at random. That is really the only variability to what cards are going to show up during your game from game to game. It's just taking out 2 of these. And it could make a big difference, but so those will just go over there, and then we're going to put this over the top of the King of Kings card. King of Kings card is on the A side. Now I'm going to take the region cards. The region cards have the yellow banner. I'm going to take 6 of these cards out, and this is going to be our region deck. 5, 6. That goes there. The rest of these will go aside. We'll come back to them in a second. We're going to take the uncivilized cards. The uncivilized cards have the green leafy icon at the bottom of it. So I'm going to shuffle that. Now, some civilized cards are also doubled as civilized cards. For most purposes, not all, and kind of we'll see how that plays out. So I'm going to take the civilized cards. Again, we're just taking 6 off the top, putting them there. We're going to get so uncivilized cards, so regions, uncivilized cards, we're going to the civilized cards now. Those have the gray banner. I'm going to shuffle these up, take 6 off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This goes here. And then we're going to take these blue banner tributary cards, and we're going to take those, we're going to take these, we're going to take these, and we're going to shuffle them up into a grand old exciting party. And I'm going to probably just pile shuffle this real quick. All right. For anyone who doesn't know, again, there are 2 versions of Imperium. You have Imperium Legends, you have Imperium Classics. I own the Legends box. Everything I read said the Legends box had a more unique quality to the nature of the factions and just had a little bit more going on. The Classics box are all historical civilizations. I believe the Legends box has at least 2 that are just made up, in that you have, or just things of fiction, right? The Atlantean Empire, and you also have the Arthurian Empire. So I think that's a cool little wrinkle. And then they took a lot of liberties. I think the Kin Empire, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. It was more like a general concept of actual historical things. So they did some more creative stuff with the empire building here. And because of that, they were more at liberty to do some more creative things mechanically as well. All right, so this is the comments area. So we have shuffled up all our decks. Now we're putting this deck here sideways. The last thing we need to do up here is we're going to actually have to seed our starting market. We're going to get 2 cards over there. So we have the Phoenicians and we have the Vikings. So 2 tributary cards right off the bat. We have a civilized card here. It is Onager. And we have an uncivilized card here. It is leadership. And finally, our region goes here. The civilized card, well, the 2 civilized cards are both, place a progress token on a card mark. So if we get a progress token here, this one has an uncivilized icon too, so it does not get a progress token to start. And then we're going to do these unrest cards. We're going to put an unrest card under every single card that is not a region. Because because when you're growing an empire, there's bound to be problems, people. That is for sure. So then we're going to put these 6 tokens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, we're using the 6 token because we're playing an Overlord. They just go underneath the various piles in the market, and that's going to help control or guide the AI's play. I should make this a little bit smaller, like so. All right. Sorry about making that smaller, but just want to make this fit a little bit better. Cool. Done. It looks so pretty. Yeah, that can come off the side a little bit. I'm fine with that. Now, we're going to set up the bot. How do we set up the bot? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take their development cards and we're going to put them in top-down order. I think you can put them face up, face down. I don't really think it matters. I mean, it's just a point grab for them. We're going to put that blah, blah, and put them in a face down pile. Okay, cool. So we're going to put these in a face down pile with the highest scoring cards at the top of the pile. Now, the highest scoring cards are going to be the one that have the asterisk. This is 5 points for the AI. So there's 2 that have an asterisk with the Mauryan faction. Again, I played as the Mauryans last time. I figured it'd be just better to just play against them this time. And I'll probably do that next time. Whoever I play as, I'll play against the Atlanteans and just kind of keep a little bit of continuity that way. So their development pile has a 1, 2 2s, a 3, and 2 5s. The more we can prevent the AI from getting these cards, it's obvious. Well, the less points they will score. That'll be super nice. We're going to put the glory card on top of that face up, and then we're going to take their nation deck. Their nation deck is 8 cards, including a couple of unrest cards. We're going to shuffle these up, and they're going to go face down on top of the stack. Booyah, just like that. Then they have these cards over here. We're going to shuffle these up, and we're going to put 1 under each number in front of me, 1 through 6, face down. This is going to basically trigger what are going to be their actions in their first turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is now their draw pile. Not much of a draw pile, only 2 cards left. We'll actually put this here. This, and I'll put their history up there. I think that'll just be the right way to pull this off. And I'm going to put something on top of their nation deck. Otherwise, I am sure to pull from the wrong thing at some point. And then we have our Solstice card. That will just indicate the beginning of a new round, the end of a round, and it will, make sure I remind myself to trigger any of my Solstice abilities that I may have on my cards that are out on the table. This is the die that they're going to roll. That's going to determine, again, a little bit of randomness to their actions and how things play out. So this is you have to have, I ripped this all out of the book. Again, it was driving me nuts the way it was. So this is going to be guiding our actions. With the Mauryans, they start as a barbarian tribe. And as barbarians, if I pull certain cards, we're going to do whatever the corresponding action is. And then once they become an empire near the late game, it takes them a while to get there. They have a lot of cards in their nation deck. Then we'll start doing these enhanced abilities there at the bottom. Michael Evans, can't believe you're live again so soon. Yeah, my wife can't either, for that matter. Yeah, we have plans tomorrow. I normally like to do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That has become a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. But lately, and I think next week too, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's been crazy. But my voice is holding up, so let's go for it. Alrighty, Jester, howdy, Solo, and chat. What's up, Jester? You did notice I was going to start this at 11, and I pushed it back an hour because, not surprisingly, when you live stream a game for 7 hours, I had some other things I needed to get done real quick. Rocket Magnet had this game a while, but had not played it yet. What's up, Lee? Yeah, this one is it's a tough game to get into, man. At least I found it. I was very displeased with a lot of things with this game. If you saw my one recorded playthrough, and honestly, it was thanks to the comments in the chat and people like saying, AC, like, I don't think anyone said I was totally off base in my criticisms, but there is a very satisfying game here. It's just layered with a lot of. The publisher did not make it in the most player friendly way, and I think that was just an absolute miss on the part of the publisher. Let me pause this real quick. My standard nose revolt before I start a playthrough. It's like, you're about to do a playthrough. Let me make sure you remember that I exist. All right, so since I'm playing an Overlord, The AI. So let me backtrack. At the end of the game, extra resources for you don't mean crap. So you might as well spend them while you got them. However, for the AI, normally the AI will score 1 point, not 3 points. I'm a mess today, guys. Will score 1 point per every 10 resources they have. Against the Overlord mode, they're going to record 1 point for every 5, and that they can mix and match with that. Additionally, these progress tokens are also worth 1 point each. The Mauryans use a lot of mechanics where they will just be gaining those over the course of the game, and that's going to be the majority of their score from at least my experience, yesterday, or yeah, the 2 times that I've played against the Mauryans. So the Mauryans, they'll just get one here, one there. They will spend them to turn them into other cards, which obviously get them other points, but if they have a pile of those as the game goes on, it is what it is. That's how they score. I think that's right. I don't think I'm missing anything. Nope. Let's do it. I'll leave some little cheat sheets and the, player aid. Should have been a player aid in front of me. Stop being so negative, Greg. I know. I'm sorry. Let's do it. I'm going to draw my opening hand. My opening hand is an unrest card. We have the prosperity card for the Atlanteans, which is it's an interesting card. Probably a card I overvalued, at least according to Saget. We have Thule, which is a region card that we start in our starting hand with, and for some reason it's getting stuck to my hand. We have the Atlantean Fleet. This is a free play. It's a cool little card that I'll probably hold on to and use next turn and try to just ditch this prosperity card. And then we have a flood card. We can sink this card and a region in play to acquire a card from the market. So that's what I have to go with. I know that it looks a little washed out. It is really hard to get the light correct. I don't think there's anything. Just the nature of these cards, man. Plus, I think the sleeves. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make that much better, unfortunately. Looks a little washed out. Maybe, hold on. Maybe I can try video capture device. Can I light balance this? Can I light balance you? Exposure? Nope. That's too dark. Ha! How's that? That's better, I think. I'm going to go with that. Apply. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Still a little washed out. What was the 7-hour marathon you speak of? Space Empires 4X from Michael. Guess I need to check out that video. I don't know, man. That's a lot. It's a lot to watch. And darn, I'm missing this life. What's up, Saget? What's going on, dude? I needed your help. I was expecting you made my coach, my inspiration, my muse, my gaming muse. But yeah, so hopefully that's a little bit better. The exposure was kind of whacked out, but it's about the best I'm going to be able to do at this point. I will continue again. This new camera, this hand cam, is a new toy, so I'm still playing with it and trying to figure out how to best make use of it. So, on my turn, I have 3 actions. The game comes with handy-dandy action tokens that you can use if you can't count to 3. I mean, we all know I can't always count to 3, but I don't know how the action tokens are going to help me because I'm just going to forget whether I use them or not anyway. So, I find them an absolute waste of production value. I wish they spent that money elsewhere. But what do I know? So, my first action, I am going to play my region card. So, we're playing the region of Thule. Thule's going to go down in my play area. And what happens? Well, I'm going to gain a population when I play Thule. I have to exile a card from the market. What card do I want to exile? I actually really like this one. Acquire, put this card in your history. I don't have a history, so that's not great. Vikings, I was flush in resources last time. Yeah. I would rather them than the Phoenicians, I think. Is that right? Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to get rid of the Phoenicians, and since I got rid of something underneath this our main deck here, we're going to replace it from the main deck, and we have another. Wow, all the tributaries are on top. We have the Etruscans gain 2 progress tokens and 3 points at the end of the game, but it's a barbarian card, so guess who can't use it? Yes, that would be me. Cannot use that. I may garrison a card, so I could basically take a card from my little hand over here and put it under this card, and it is garrison. Pretty much the only cards I'm garrisoning as the Atlanteans are generally going to be, if I have the fame cards, I get you extra points for being garrisoned, which will come out. All right, my second play I'm going to do is I'm going to play Flood. Let's start doing some stuff here. So I'm going to sink this card and a region in play. This is my region, and they are going to go into, when I sink a card, they go into my flooded pile. Again, it's not a history, and it allows me the opportunity to gain a civilized card, an uncivilized card, a region, or a tributary card. I think I want to grab this tributary card because it's so many resources. I could gain that. Nope. The Mauryans aren't going to have a lot of structures, so for them to abandon that is going to be a little silly. I don't think I need that yet, so I'm going to grab the Vikings, and since I acquire the card instead of break through for it, I get both the Vikings and this Unrest card as well. And now, so I'm going to get the Unrest card over here, and then with my third play, I'm going to play the Vikings card that I just acquired. That's going to give me 2 resources. When I acquired that, this gets reset. Oh my gosh, another you got another tributary card. Woof. This comes out. I get 2 resources, so I'm going to just put this into a 5er. I'll try to keep that changed up pretty regularly, and then I'm going to steal 2 resources from the Mauryans. Now, if they were not able to pay me 2 resources, they would have instead paid me what they had, if they had 1 instead of 2, and then they would have also taken an unrest card. So now this card goes into my discard pile. All right. At the end of my turn, a couple of things happen. I had to order this wrong in my playthrough, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful about this today. I kind of want the Scythians. I think that will make some sense. So I'm going to put a victory point there. And the next thing I'm going to do is discard any number of cards that I want from my... then I would clear any tokens if I had them. I don't have any. And then I'm going to discard any number of cards from my hand. I cannot start developing next turn anyway. I have too many cards in my deck. So I'm going to get rid of both of these unrests and the prosperity card. Put this here. And now I draw up to 5. We have another flood card. We have another region, which is Hersperides, whatever, and we have another flood card, and then we have another unrest card. So you see, like I put a region out and already flooded it. Like getting a constant supply of regions is going to be really important in how the Atlanteans work. So I drew to my hand. That's the end of my turn. Now we go to the bot's turn. The bot's going to roll the die. I rolled a 6. So that just means that at the end of the turn, since it's a 6, they're not going to put a victory point on the unrest pile. And mind you, the unrest pile is already down to just 3 cards. So be careful. This should be an easy win for your information. Thanks, Sagitt. I'm going to totally lose. I can't wait till I lose and Sagitt comes back and makes fun of me later. And then I will check this later. Excellent. This, that's fine. I'll just put the, those cards hanging out from my face, that is the cards that are just exiled. So we're good. So now we're going to do the first 5 turns for the Mauryans. Turn number 1 is Chandragupta. Chandragupta is, we're going to check our little chart. Well, it's not an advanced card. It's not a prosperity card. It is not a card with a sword symbol. It's not a region. It is not a card that has an affinity symbol. It is not an empire card. So it's an other. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. There is an uncivilized card. They're acquiring it, so they also get the corruption and the unrest card. And the way that works is you're going to gain them in the order that the cards are stacked. So they gain the leadership card first, and then the unrest card goes right on top of it. That's going to replace. It is another civilized card. Obviously, I pulled it from the uncivilized card. I pulled it from the uncivilized card pile. And now, since there's no so I acquired that. If able, return a region card from the discard pile to the top of the bot deck. There are no region cards in the bot's discard pile, and then place the top card from the dynasty deck into the discard pile, and then put this card into history. So this card, top card of the dynasty deck, is going to go here. It's an Indian Elephants card going there now, which just means they're already going to start attacking me, which doesn't make me happy. And now This card is going to go into history. So the Mauryans do have a history, and this is just going to go right there. So we will not see that card again. Now, the power card for the Mauryans doesn't matter A or B. That is basically just a placeholder for them. It's basically just a piece of paper, so we can ignore any powers on that for the bot. Next card, Prosperity. This card, the top card of the bot deck, so that comes over. It's an unrest card. They're going to gain 1 point per region in play. Well, they don't have any reasons to play, and then I may draw a card. Don't mind if I do. And I drew the Elysian Floods. I'll put that over here. So we have 3 regions in our starter deck, which is the starting hand, or yeah, starting deck, which is good. We're going to sink all of them as soon as possible. So now, since there's no instructions on this, this goes in the discard pile. The next bot action is the advance card. So advance is its own separate thing. If able, spend a point to acquire a civilized card. They are going to spend this point to get the civilized card. There's only 1 civilized card out there. They're going to get the one that gives them the most points. Obviously, it's the only one that's out there. They acquire it, goes on top of their deck. And otherwise, well, they were able to do that, so that's fine. This is going to get replaced. Unrest pile getting super low. Definitely need to get some of those back. This is corruption now. This is out. And 2 more actions coming up. We have an unrest card. Thank you. Put that back there, and another unrest card. All right, that makes me happy. End of the turn, we would put a victory point up on top, except we don't do that on number 6. This card slides over. We put 5 new cards in the other open slots. Like that. That's the end of the bot's turn. Solstice, I would do any Solstice abilities. I don't have any, and so we just go to my turn. All right, what do I want to do? Well, I'm going to want to put out one of these 2 regions. Sure, I'm going to put out Elysian Fields. That lets me exile a card from the market. I'm going to exile this card. See what comes out here. It is Code of Laws. Exhaust, draw a card. That could be pretty nice. So it just stays out perpetuity. It just stays out. That's why it has the infinity symbol. And then, once a turn, lets you draw another card. It can be really, really helpful. I can garrison a card. I don't want to. And then I'm going to play for my second action another flood card, sink this card, and a region in play to acquire an uncivilized card, a civilized card, or a tributary card. I'm going to take the tributary card. Because especially now they're going to attack me already with Indian elephants. Those attacks can be super nasty. This is a region that gets put there. Since the region doesn't get an unrest card, these are both acquired. And now with my third action, I'm going to play Atlantean Fleet, choose and sink a card from my discard pile. I'm going to sink my Prosperity card. I just don't find it that helpful. And then I'm going to steal a point from each player, and that's fine. Otherwise, or I could break through for a card and then sink this card. But that's something I will do later. That just goes in my discard. End of my turn, I'm going to add a token to a card. I kind of like the Code of Laws. Hopefully I can pick that off. I think that ability to draw an extra card would be super helpful. I'm going to discard any number of cards. I'm going to have to start getting rid of these unrest cards. Oof. Woofity woof. I'm going to keep the Scythians. I'm going to keep a region. I'll keep that flood card. I'm going to be drawing anyway, so that's nice. So let's get rid of these 2 unrest cards. And since I need to draw up 2 more cards, I only have 3 cards in my hand, so I draw 1. It's an unrest card, and now I'm going to be able to develop. So with the development, I'm going to look through here, get the card that I want. I definitely want the Mountain of Atlantis. It's going to cost me 2 population to buy the Mountain of Atlantis. This development card gets added into my discard pile. I put an X on that, so that's exhausted. I cannot do that ability again until after the end of my next turn during the cleanup phase. I shuffle these cards. And I'm going to add one more to my hand. It's an unrest card. Might start just putting one of those back because, woof. It's not looking great. So that is number, that's the end of my turn. So now we go over to the bot's turn. The bot's going to roll a die. It's a 2. So now we're going to do their 5 actions. First, they get Chinyaka. So Chinyaka is an other card. If able, acquire a civilized card. Well, they're going to get the Code of Laws after all. And they're going to get the unrest card that goes on top of it. They're going to return a region to the top of their display. They don't have any regions in their discard pile. And they get this victory point. And place the top card of the Dynasty deck into the discard pile. So they're going to get another Dynasty card. That one is the City of Patapulputra. I'm butchering all these things. This goes into history. Their next action. Oh, we get a new card over here. It's Urban Development. This card comes out. It's Onager. They're going to break through for a region. They're going to get the leftmost region because they're both the same number of points. This goes on top of their deck. They're going to, since it's, I have another attack card already. That's bananas. So they're going to make me recall a region. I don't have any regions in place, so I just ignore that effect, and then this card goes in our discard pile. This comes out. It's the Macedonians. Their next action over here is Leadership. This is an other card. If able, acquire an uncivilized card. They are able. They don't have any regions to return. They don't have any regions to discard pile to return to the top of their deck. This card comes out while the unrest pile is empty. Does that trigger endgame? Game end. Collapse is triggered if there are ever no cards left in the unrest pile. What? That was weird. Collapse is triggered if there are ever no cards left in when the collapse is triggered, the game ends immediately without even completing the current action. The player with the fewest unrest cards wins. This is bananas, dude. I think I have more. No, they have 3. I mean, that's just they just kept putting out. They just kept taking cards, and new unrest cards came out. I think they have 3, and I have 3. They have 4. Is that just literally the game? No, they have 4. I mean, that can't be the end of the game. That's so stupid. Oh, man. They never put any back. Like, this would have been back in the discard pile, so this has happened to be covered up. And then they just had 3 cards in a row that kept giving them new cards, which kept not being regions, which kept putting more unrest cards in the thing. Collapse is triggered if there are ever no cards left in the unrest pile. If collapse is triggered, scoring has already been triggered, or collapse is resolved. The game's done immediately. Count the number of unrest cards in your hand, play area, draw deck, discard pile, and history. The player with the fewest wins. I guess I win. Did I set this thing up? How do you feel the AI works in this game? Easy to manage, is to play like a person, is it too random? What are your thoughts? Thanks. That was a quick game. Wow, interesting stuff. Well, at least this wasn't a 7-hour marathon. I mean, I have so many issues with this game, but I mean, I do like it. I'm intrigued by it. Like, but it's just not. I just, is the AI easy to manage? Yeah, the AI is super easy to manage. Once you get past the BS, the rulebook's garbage. The player aids aren't really player aids. Like, literally, I tore all the pages out with the AI rules out of the rulebook so I could just fold this. Like, on the back of this, though, you have 2 other. I mean, it's really dumb. Like, these should all be separate things, front and back. You should have the barbarian side on the one, empire on the other. there was just a lot of there was not a lot of attention given to player experience in how they put this game together in a way that bothers me. Like, it's come on, dude. Like, I mean, this isn't like some brand new gaming company. I mean, this is a company that should know better. And I'm honestly blanking on who the heck put this together. Um, who the heck? What was the name of the company? Man, they didn't even want to put their name on it. They're so embarrassed. Who are you? Yeah, Osprey Games. I mean, Osprey Games, like, you have to know better. Like, you have to know how to put the game together and do it right. But yeah, the AI is not that bad once you have a rhythm. But I don't even know, man. That was weird. Yeah, I mean, that's the game. That's no, I'm sorry. I have 5 unrest. I lose. I forgot my hands over there. Um, I might be wrong, but I think it's so you always lose when there's a collapse. You could be right. That sounds right. I mean, I guess I should have played an unrest card last turn. Like, I just didn't think they would. The bot ignores any of your effects that would allow it to return. Allow it to return unrest. It just kept getting cards on unrest and putting on new cards that had unrest. It's nuts. Game end. Collapse is triggered or known. If the game end is triggered by collapse, you lose. Oh, you were correct. I never had a collapse happen before, so like, I genuinely have never had a collapse happen before, this is so epic, man. This is how things go in solo playthroughs land. Like, this is supposed to be an easy win. Yeah, I never had a game end by collapse. I just never. What did I just put out 3 in a row, right? Yeah, it was like their first 3 turns. I had 3 cards in the unrest pile, and the first 3 turns was bam, bam, bam. Like, they just all came out. I mean, that would not have put a card in the unrest pile. Yeah, their regions. That's the problem. Their regions didn't come out, and since all their regions didn't come out, these were not cards that took unrest. And then I just kept having cards here that required unrest. Wow, that was nuts. That was nuts. Let me get some Indian elephants. So that's a thing. That's Imperium. Imperium, not so legends. It's how we play. That's good. I don't even running this back seems like not worth the effort. Oh man, it's 43 minutes. Yeah, dude. On another day, I probably would. I think after 7 hours yesterday, I'm kind of like, like, moral of the story is watch out for unrest if you're playing with the Atlanteans against the Mauryans. I've never had. It's so funny, man. I've played probably a couple dozen games between playing as the Mauryans against the Egyptians and now this, and unrest losing to a collapse was never happened. So yeah, I guess it's kind of cool. I guess the number doesn't matter. So you really do have the onus to, like, make sure that we don't go into unrest. Again, the fact that any one thing, if I didn't roll a 2, if I had rolled any other number, we would have survived, because that would have been there. And then we'd play it out from there. And at that point, I'm like, well, there's only 1 card in the unrest pile. Like, I would have been able to spend the resources, keep getting more in there. But if they're pulling, I guess when you're playing an Overlord, if they're pulling 5 cards a turn, but I mean, I played this twice before. I don't think we even ever got down below 2 or 3 unrest cards. That was really wild. Plus, I mean, then adding for their nation deck, they added the Indian elephants instead of, they have a couple of unrest cards in here, so that would have added to the unrest supply. That was super fun and crazy. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way the Atlanteans work, it's kind of cool. Once you get your Mountains of Atlantis out, and then you get, because that's out, the next time I developed, you could get into the Palace of Poseidon. that would give me one extra card in my hand, which obviously is going to make me even easier to develop. Their big way to get cards out of the Fame deck is going to be with Myths and Legends. But again, you have to get a supply of regions. You have to sync the region to get a Fame card. Again, Fame cards are how you get a ton of points, and generally that's how I ended up like really stomping the Mauryans in my 2 other games, because I was getting a bunch of Fame cards. They are very slow to get to the Fame portion of the evening because they have all these nation cards to get through. Once they get there, they get glory. Then they start getting these development cards, and their glory card allows them to spend the regions that they keep putting out. They spend 3 of those to get a Fame card. But yeah, we will I'm gonna let this ride for today, man. That was hilarious. Then I can finish my Dune Imperium game. Sounds good. Oh shoot. Well, that was a interesting endeavor. I did not expect that. Why is this is I don't know why that color. Gotta find a place where I can put these. If I put this over here. No, that's even worse. Yeah, I could maybe do it this way, but then I'm having a hard time seeing it from where I'm sitting. No, it's funny. So yeah, I'll try to figure out how to make best use of this hand cam in the future. But that was fun. Hope everyone has a good weekend. We'll be back we'll be back on Tuesday. I have um a Zed's playthrough. It's a patron challenge on Tuesday. Super excited about that. That comes courtesy of Josh, which is going to be great. And Wednesday, really excited about Nemesis Games joining me for a probably 20 minutes. We're going to do like a Q&A. The pledge manager for Uprising does open up on Monday. I'm sorry, opens up on Tuesday. They're joining me on Wednesday. So Wednesday, November 7th, at least 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So wherever you are. It's going to be 5 p.m. for them. They're over in Germany. So we're going to talk for like 20 minutes, half hour, and then I'll do another playthrough of Uprising. Speaking of games that absolutely destroyed me on camera last time I played. So, it is what it is. And then Thursday or Friday, I forget what I'm doing. I'm like so excited about like Nemesis Games and Uprising that I really don't even remember the rest of the week. But I don't know. My journey with this game will continue. I mean, I'm simultaneously more drawn to it and more bothered by some of it. That's bananas. Yeah, I mean, because there were so many ways I could have just got one extra unrest pile. I mean, the unrest cards are not hard to get rid of. You can spend a population, you can discard 2 cards, or you can pay 3 resources. I just wasn't aware that we were on such a precarious situation. I mean, that was the second turn. Woof. That's crazy, dude. That is absolutely bananas. I mean, I guess I acquired 2 cards that gave me 2 more unrests. Maybe I should have acquired a region. I don't know. I don't know. So many issues. But that's that. Have a great weekend, Solo and chat. See you all soon, I hope. Thank you, Jester. I hope you are having a good day yourself. At least I hope someone learned the setup for Imperium Legends and is like, oh, okay, and just kind of know whether this game is for you or not. I don't know. I haven't done a great job showing this game off, I guess. Although my Mauryan playthrough, I think, was pretty solid. That was I definitely had some strategic mistakes, but I think I pulled off a very close win against the Egyptians in that one. And there were, spoiler alerts, there were just the only thing, if you do watch that video, there were some issues. And if you read the comments from Stagia, were super helpful. The end of turn sequence I had off. You always place the victory point. Then you remove your like exhaust tokens. Then you draw up to your hand, and if you develop or if you add from your nation deck, then you add that. So I was doing some of those things just out of order. So you just want to be careful that you have the turn order correct. But other than that, in that playthrough, I don't think it made a real difference. I didn't have a super thin deck, so it wasn't like I was going to be able to get or develop or get 2 cards from my nation deck in the same round anyway. But That's about that. So this was crazy. Jester, I think Ethereum Legends just lost a few spots on your top games list. Yeah, it wasn't all that high to begin with. I think it was like 20. And it was 20 because like look, if you're 20, it's because I respect the fact that there's a great game there. But I'm also cognizant that it might not be a great game for me. Um, so I think if you go from my top 20 from my what was the top 10? Yeah, what I did a top 10 and a top 24. Yeah, I mean I think anything above 15, like you can probably expect will not be in my top games list next year, except there's gonna be like one or two risers. And yeah, I would be surprised if this game's on there. I think the same could be said about, Street Masters. I mean, I'm not a big deck buildery kind of guy, right? Like it's not a genre I like a ton. This one does some interesting things. I just there are just this was definitely one of those experiences of like, oh, so that can happen too. Okay, well, it changes your strategy. Like next time, like I probably won't lose by unrest again. But if I was going to lose by unrest, I'm glad it happened on camera because I find that hilarious. I mean, it's like when if there's an easy matchup, I'm going to find a way to lose it. It's like when I lost lore against level 6 Russia, which is like bananas, right? Like someone who plays as much Spirit Atlanta as me should not be losing that matchup ever. Um, but I did, and it was funny. So hopefully you are entertained by my misery, and I will finish this week holding my head high with the 7-hour marathon that was Space Empires 4X. But this is definitely better for my voice, and I'll give this another go. I'm sure. The Arthurians are supposed to be cool. I'll put them against the Atlanteans. We'll have a fictional battle royale between two of the more interesting factions in this game, and I won't lose by unrest. That's my promise to you, which I can in no way assure you that I'm going to keep, but I'm going to make it anyway because that's how deeply I feel. Jester, yes, we are entertained. Thanks, bro. Thank you, sir. Everyone, have a great weekend, and until next time, happy gaming.
Solo.